beauties. So today we are going to create the wings of change. Sounds good, that, doesn't it? I was thinking about a conversation I had this week about how we get lost sometimes being mums, daughters, parents, partners. We get lost in all the stuff that makes us truly us. So we're going to delve into that a little bit while we create a beautiful picture for us to hang on the wall and for us to remember just how magical and powerful that we are already without all the extra bits and all the labels and everything. So it's called the Wings of Change because we're going to create some wings, and the wings are to help us remember that we can fly and that we're already got everything that we need inside us. We just need to re-tap into that again. So we're going to draw some wings. Now wings can be any kind of shape, so you draw your wings however you want. They don't have to be the same shape as mine. So they could be like butterfly wings if you feel like you're going through a transformation at the moment. They could be angel wings if you feel like you need some extra guidance and protection. They could be dragonfly wings if you're connecting with the dragonfly and ancestors and loved ones that have passed if you want the support of them. So they can be all different wings, and different wings symbolise different things. So I don't even know what kind of wings mine are, but they're these wings. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lines. Yes, this is a good idea. So whatever wings that you create, I want you to add some lines to them like this, or following the shape of your wings. They don't have to be exactly like mine, but yeah, follow the shape of your wings all the way. I always find it awkward drawing on the other side, so I like to turn my paper over because it makes it so much easier. So we're just going to draw all these lines out. I'm going to end up with a weird one, aren't I, in the middle now, but never mind, that's fine. It's all fine. So once we've done that, so we're going to use pencil because we're going to cover over all these things. Once we've done that, I want you to write down on your wings, just gently, not really hard, all the things, all the inner critic things that you might say to yourself, all the inner critic things that come up when you're thinking about you as a person, and write them just gently on each line. You might not fill all the lines, but you might do. So we'll just do this now. As I'm writing these things down, I'm noting a shift in my mood, and I'm noting a shift of it's making me feel sad and horrible, and this might come up for you as well. And if it does, just work through it, just keep going, because we're going to transform those feelings of self-doubt, inner critic, feeling bad about yourself. We're going to transform them when we put our beautiful layers over. So just keep at it, even if you shed a tear or you have to pause a little bit in the middle or something like that. But just keep going if you can. When you've got your full list, put your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and take a really big, deep breath in. And out. And feel your feet connecting to the floor and to the earth below. And all the time we're going to be breathing deeply in and out. Allow yourself to ground in onto the floor. You are now connected to the earth below. And when you feel that your energies are more solid and more connected, this can take a little while. It could take a few minutes. But as soon as you feel like you are out of your head and back into your body and grounded and connected, then you can open your eyes. And then you can start the next part, which is going to be, we're going to decorate this beautifully however we feel that we are. So this next part is going to be where we decorate our wings, and we're going to decorate them in the colours that bring us the most joy. And if you don't know what they are, just feel what you're drawn to. So I've got an array of paint, I've got ink tints, pastels, which are really nice for flowy. I've also got watercolour pencils as well, and my favourite colour of acrylic, fluorescent pink. I love it, it's really nice. So you can decorate it however you want. The idea is we're going to cover up these words, because these words need to be buried and gone, because these words are not true. These words are our worst enemy, our inner critic, our horrible person in our brains that say these things. These things are not true. So as we're covering them up, I want you to be really aware that these words are not true. And we're not covering them up to hide them. We're covering up because they no longer serve us. We no longer need these words. These words are nothing. They don't mean anything. A lot of them stem from childhood, or from our parents maybe, from our siblings, from people at school that pretended to be our friends. They come from all sorts of things. They could come from the media. So if you've grown up and you're looking at magazines, women's magazines, things like that, they can come from all sorts of places. And the trouble is, we collect them. We collect them over the years, and eventually we believe them, but they're not true. So this one, "You walk like a farmer's lass," that I've written on here, that is what my mum used to say to me. Well, when I'm walking now, especially if I'm making a video or anything, I don't think I'm graceful at all. I don't think I'm very graceful in any way. And that's had a real impact on me over the years. And to somebody else, you just think, that's daft, you know. But to me, it's a real thing. So it doesn't matter what you write, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else, only to you. And we're covering them up because now we are getting ready for our new wings to fly in a new direction. And this could be any kind of direction. It could be into a new relationship. It could be into a new business venture. It could be into a new you, a different kind of you. It could be any kind of thing, and that's what we're doing this for, because we need to free ourselves from these feelings that we're not good enough, because we are. Oops, I just hit the camera with my glasses. I was reaching for my my ink pastel things, so sorry about that. You don't work well in teams. That's what one of my old bosses said to me. And I said, that's because I'm quite capable of doing the stuff that you presented to me on my own. I didn't need to work in a team. But to him, that was a big thing, you know. And also, it's stuck in my head all this time. So there must be some part of it in there that I was like, oh, you know, I had to analyse all that. So it's very interesting, and if you can figure out as well where these things come from, then that's even better, because you can then realise how ridiculous they really are, you know. So I've covered mine up with the ink tints, and then I'm going to use the water. The great thing about those is you can use them as like a crayon, but you can also use them as a paint, like a watercolour paint as well. So, ooh, that's not good, is it? I'm blurring all the colours. They're looking very murky, these wings, very dark. That's because of the colours all blended together. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. It's fine, it's totally fine. This is not about it being a masterpiece, it's about us creating something we can put on the wall and we can remember just how flipping amazing we are. And it's interesting if what colours you've picked, what kind of, mine are all, and this was totally unintentional, mine are all quite dark, groundy colours. So I know the pink isn't dark, but it's a darker pink. It's a more grounding pink. Now I like that side because of the way that it's flicked out. I might try that on this side, but I think because I've already put that line on, it might not work. Get that pink back again and go over it a bit more, because I can see the writing underneath and I don't want to see any of the writing. The idea is we cover it up completely. You can also do this with collage as well. It doesn't have to be with colours. You can do this with collage stuff as well. So whatever you feel like you... Oh, sorry, I keep bashing my head on it. Whatever you feel like you want to use. Add a bit of that red. I don't actually use red a lot in my work, interestingly. Now I'm going to add some yellow. Remember to duck that time before I went to get my pastel. I'm going to put a bit of yellow in the middle actually to bring it together. Oh, I like that. It's like, look, it's lifted it actually quite a lot. Ooh, yeah, nice. So if you are not doing this with me as I'm doing it, when you're doing it for yourself, make sure you put some nice music on and give yourself half an hour away from, you know, responsibilities, so you can really just get into the zone and play about with it. I'm going to add some of my favourite pink to it now. And this is just in my sketchbook. So that's the other thing. If you are, you know, you're worried about making a mess or where to start and stuff, don't worry about like doing this on a canvas, but you can do. If you feel confident enough you want to do it on a canvas, go for it. But if you are starting out and you've not done any of this kind of thing before, invest in a sketchbook. But invest in an art sketchbook. Not just like, don't just go to the Wilco's or whatever, you know, if you're in England, or is it Walmart in America maybe? Make sure that you invest in a sketchbook that is got a good paper in it that can take different mediums. And a medium is paint, pencil, what, you know, all the different stuff that you use. Because what will happen is, if you buy a crappy sketchbook, when you're making your work will come out crappy, and then you'll be disappointed, and it'll put you off from doing more. So that's one good thing to do. And invest in a pencil that's not a HB. So get all the pencils that are different. Can't think of the word. Tones and shades, that's the word. Yeah, not just, so a HB is a pencil that you would just generally use, you know, if you was at school or for writing, and they're just the normal average pencil. So you want something that's a bit better, because the thing is, if you spend a bit of money on a nice sketchbook and a good pencil, then you're halfway there to making your artwork. If you use the not very good stuff in that, then like I say, you'll make artwork that you won't like, and then that'll be disappointing, and that's not the whole point of it, is it? The point of it is you create, and that helps you feel, and it helps you process emotions. But also you want to be able to be proud of what you've created, or at least like it a bit. And you don't have to like everything, you know. Some things that you make, you might be like, oh, that's bloody awful, and that's totally fine too. So I don't know why I've added little antennas to this. It's just kind of come to me. You don't have to add antennas to it. I was just chatting away to you, and they've just appeared, so I'm not quite sure why, and that's totally fine. And you find this when you're doing it for yourself, if you feel like adding things but you don't know why you're adding them, that is totally fine. That just means that you're in the flow of it, and that you're enjoying the process. And the whole idea is it's meant to be a bit meditative, so you're getting out of your head, you're getting out of your thoughts, and you are just creating. And like I say, it doesn't matter what it looks like, what it comes out like. It shouldn't look anything like mine, because they're each personal to, you know, each person. But if you are really stuck, you know, you can copy what I've done, but this is about you really. So now I'm adding some leaves and some like vine to it, because I'm going to move on to the next part now, which is about you now. Who are you now? And don't forget, we change every 7 years. We completely change, and that is just normal. That's just the way that it is with the cycles and everything. So if you don't change, then I think that's more worrying than if you do. because if you stay the same all the time, you're not growing, you're not developing, you're not exploring. So if you think about who you were in your 20s compared to who you are now, you'll be a very different person if you've done the work on yourself and you've been growing and changing. But I do think the thing that is constant is when you're a child, you tap into the things that you love to do just naturally. If you are able to, of course. You know, if you grow up in terrible poverty or in like a war-torn country or something, that's totally different. But I'm just talking about, you know, the average childhood here. You tap into the things that you love doing the most, and if you ever get stuck as a grown-up, you can think, right, what did I actually really love as a child? And then you can go back to that. And it's almost like they're your core things, because, you know, you were so in tune with yourself when you was a child. So if you're ever really stuck, you can go back to that. So yeah, I'm just adding them. You might add other things that are important to you. You could add musical instruments. You could add, if you love baking, cakes. You could add symbols and shapes that you love to, you're always doodling, or you're always, you know, making. There's all sorts of things that you could add to it. Whatever lights you up. What makes you, you? Some of the things it'd be quite hard to paint. Like, I love researching. It's one of my favourite things to do. How would you paint that? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I suppose a book. Could do a book, maybe. So I'm just going over bits of it with paint now, because I realised how dull it was, and actually I like colourful things. Just keep adding. And you might get to a point where you go, oh my god, I've just totally ruined it. That's okay. It's all okay. We just are playing. That's all we're doing. We're just playing. Nothing more. And I hope by the time you're feeling this playing and you're feeling like you're just in the moment and just enjoying it, and you've covered up all those negative things that were being in your brain earlier, I hope that that is really awful. That's like what a 5-year-old's done at nursery. Oh dear. Yeah, I hope that you are starting to now relax a little bit and it doesn't feel as heavy. Let's just get rid of that by pretending it was meant to be a background. I moved it again. I think I have. I'm sorry about this. Very unprofessional. So yeah, I've blended it all in now, making it all have a background, aren't I? Because I messed up with the flower. It's totally fine. It's all fine. Ooh, that's a bit vibrant, isn't it? Didn't put as much water on that one. Ooh, very vibrant. I kind of like it. I kind of like how it's blended in actually to the pink. Let's get a bit more pink. Oh yeah, now you're talking. Now you're talking my language. What I really like to do as well is make a playlist to create to. So I've got a few on my computer or iPad, and they really get me in the mood, and they never include words. I never can create to words because what I find is I end up incorporating them words in what I'm making. So I'm going to wait for it to dry, or we're just going to write on top of it, which I think I'm just going to write on top of it now. So now what I want you to do is, we'll see if this works or not. I want you to now think of the things that either all the good things about you, or if you struggle with that, all the things, the qualities that you would love to have, or that your friends might have said that you have, or your partner, or pardon me, qualities that you really feel express your inner real person. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. It's not working with that pen. Let's try a different one. Don't really want to use a Sharpie. It might be a bit too... might be a bit too dark, a Sharpie. Oh, I wonder if I used a pink one. Let's see if that works. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, so that answers that, doesn't it? We need to leave it to dry. Let's use a pencil. Oh, yes, watercolour pencil. That works because it doesn't matter that it's still damp. Lovely, yes. So you can either leave yours to dry or be bonkers like me and carry on writing over the top of it. And we're going to write all our qualities on our wings now. I can't write on some of it because it's soggy, so I will leave that to dry and come back to it later. Isn't it funny that this takes a lot more thought to write out than the inner critic ones did? Because there's a thing, and I can't remember what it's called, but basically if you heard 10 compliments and one mean thing, you would remember the mean thing over all the compliments. That's how our brains are wired. Isn't that ridiculous? So don't worry if you struggle with this bit even more than you did the other bit. We're trying to rewire our neurons in our brain that for so many years have just had the negative stuff all the time. We're trying to rewire that now into the good, happy, positive stuff that we truly are. Interesting how much thought has to go into that. This is a real lesson, isn't it, of what we actually think of and what we actually focus on. Just adding some little hearts for love. And being kind to yourself. If you can hear a funny snuffling noise, I don't have a pig in my living room. It's our dog, Badger. Oops. He's snoozing on the couch. I tried to leave him in the other room with Tom, who's my partner, but I could hear him tapping at the door wanting to come in. He likes being in here with me. Just lying there while I do drawings and stuff and talking. So I think, let's see, I was going to say that's finished, but it isn't, because I've just seen something. I just want to add some stalky bits to my leaves. That colour's not very good, and neither's that one. Let's see, got the darker green. Now, I think I'm going to have to use a paint. A watercolour paint, this is. Let's use that, see if that works. That's better. Yes, I prefer that. Add a little bit more to that. I do love using all different materials, you know, for creating. I think it's so nice that you can just layer things up. So I think I'm done. I feel like it needs some flowers. Let's see if I can do flowers this time without it being a mess. I'm going to turn it round actually to make it easier, then I'm not leaning over all my wet paint. I don't know if you can hear, I've got some kind of opera thing on in the background. It's classical music, but now it's turned into opera and I'm not sure why. I think the playlist has just carried on. But when I was a kid, I used to think that I could sing opera because I'd just be like, must basically be making all the noises to go with it. I didn't actually realise they were singing words. I just thought they were making loads of weird noise. And I was like, I'm really good at opera singing. The same with, I watched Flashdance with my sister and I thought I could definitely become a dancer, and I used to just leap all around the living room thinking I was so elegant, but I'm not quite sure I pulled it off. But when you're a kid you just believe anything, don't you? You can be anything, and I love that. And then when we get older, we just be like, oh, I can't do that because of I don't have the training, or I don't have the money, or I've got to look after my family, or my parents won't allow me, or whatever it is, and we let that seep into us, and it's not the case. Not the case at all. So, just going to add some orangey bits to the middle for the not petals, can't think of the flipping word. What's it called? The middle bit. Oh my goodness, it's gone right out my head. It's totally gone. I can't think of it. I'm due on my moon time next week though, so that's probably why I can't think of words. I always start forgetting words the week before my moon time's due. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments what the middle bit of a flower's called. Oh my goodness. Marvellous. And I'm gonna add some stars because I love the stars. And everything I make for my own business, like for my website or branding or anything, I always have to include stars. And when I'm doodling, I doodle stars a lot. What do you doodle a lot? Swirly things as well. I like doodling swirly things. But mainly it's stars, and that star's wonky, but never mind. Yeah, mainly it's stars and flowers and leaves and spirally things. And I'm now just adding some dots, because I also like dotty things. That's not why I named my business Dotty Delightful, by the way, because I like dotty things. Just in case you thought that. Okay, and let me check in. Am I done? Am I done? Let me feel it. Yes, I'm done. I really like that now. And it doesn't matter that a 5-year-old could do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's not the most artistic piece in the world and it's never going to get in a Tate. That's totally fine. This is all about tuning in, connecting to yourself. So I want you to think of that. If you've got blocks of going, I'm not creative, or I can't do this, or it's not going to look like hers, that's fine, and it's not meant to. This is your own piece of work, and now it's beautiful. So just to go over the whole idea behind this, we started off with that heavy feeling of all the inner critic words that we say to ourselves a lot, and now we've created this beautiful piece that shows us, when we look at it, actually I'm not all those underlying words that are in our heads and minds. I'm not any of them underlying things. I am this beautiful thing on the surface and inside, but you know, I'm just talking about thoughts right now. And we can put this up somewhere and be like, that's what I am. So on them days when you feel really rubbishy, you can look at it and put your hand on your heart and be like, I am beautiful, I am artistic, I am caring, I am kind, I am all the things. And it just gives us a little bit of strength. So I hope you've enjoyed that today. Let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know your thoughts around this process, and do feel free to share them with me.